Okay, welcome back guys. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode coming from New York City. Thanks for all your kind messages. It was really well received, and it was also nice to get out of the garage. You know, I'm stuck in here 24/7, and sometimes it's nice just to go to a different environment, meet different people, speak about their cars and see what they've got. It's always nice to chew the fat. But unfortunately, we're back in England and we're back on this beautiful 928 GT. Now, the job I'm going to do today, I'm going to tackle a job which people mainly dread. It's the rear wheel bearing on these 928s, on these S4s or whatever you want to call them. It's not a job I've particularly been looking forward to, but again, it's one of them jobs that really needs doing. It's really important. You remember the jobs I've done on the car already, looking back in previous episodes. This is just another one to complete that long list that we had. Anyway, we'll crack on. But also, in the next few weeks, I'd like to give this garage a little bit of a revamp. It's really important your working environment. It's important that it's clean, it's tidy, and above all, it's safe. I think tools go a long way to keeping it safe and helping us do them jobs a lot quicker than, you know, when you realise you haven't got the correct tools. So I think over the next few weeks, I might just focus on a way that we can clean and tidy our garage and have it set up so it's easier to do these jobs. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to buy all these tools at thousands and thousands of pounds. You can actually do it quite reasonably. So maybe that's the thing I'll focus on the next few weeks. Obviously, this is the job in hand today, and in the coming weeks as well. I know I've mentioned that we've got some cars arriving this year. Some of them are taking longer than others to come, but I promise you it won't be long now. So I think I'm going to focus next, after the Porsche, I'm going to focus on this Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible, which has been sitting here. I did a couple of jobs, did the braking system on it, I'm sure you remember. And yeah, I think over the coming weeks, that's what we're going to focus on. And of course, we've got the NEC Classic Restoration Motor Show in Birmingham, which we always look forward to. It's on the 21st to the 23rd of March. And hopefully you guys, some of you viewers, will come and join me and have a coffee and chew the fat and see exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, let's crack on with the job in hand, shall we? So as always, let's get stuck in. So it's off with that brake caliper and make sure it's supported so it's not resting on its flexi hose. Off with the big axle nut. Off with the brake disc, or the rotor as they call it in the US. Off with the handbrake cable, the shoes and the adjuster. And those pesky little springs. Now this is a method for removing the hub. If you use two hardened bolts, one either side, and with a nut and a washer, just gradually tighten them in. Eventually you'll pull the hub away from the bearing. This is an easy way of doing things. Of course it's easier to push out a bearing on a bearing press, but removal of the hub with its carrier could lead to a whole load of problems. As these long bolts here, which start here and go all the way to there, are invariably seized and can turn into a whole load of extra work. So in my mind, this is by far the easier option. And whilst I'm down there, I'm also going to change the axle oil. There's the drain plug, here's the filler. Which again, because of its lack of accessibility, I've had to make up this bottle and filler pipe, as it can also turn into a real faff. Now for the second method of removal of the hub, I purchased this relatively inexpensive slide hammer. It has a piece here which bolts straight to the hub using the wheel nuts. The slide hammer simply screws in and away we go. And there's your bearing. And these little 10mm bolts that hold this shield on, I promise you, a couple of them will snap and have to be drilled out. So these 6 Allen headed bolts to the axle were a bit tricky. And again, because of the inaccessibility, I had to use long extensions through the spring and over the exhaust. It became a process of jack the car up, turn the opposite axle wheel until the bolts were visible, drop the wheel down to the floor again, then put it into gear to lock it up. And only then was I able to undo them. But a couple of them actually locked up and were rounding off inside the Allen key. So I had to revert to some other tools just to extract them. You know, if I had a lift, things would be so much easier. It's no fun working on the floor. And if you think it's tedious to watch, try doing it. Then I'd knock it out of gear and the whole process would start over again. I'd turn the wheel, I'd drop the wheel, I'd knock it into gear, I'd take the bolt out, and on and on. Hours and hours of fun. But eventually, out it came. Throw in a bit of WD, a little bit of a clean, and out with the circlet. So it's out with the old, and in with the new. So for the back of the bearing, I just need to find a disc with the correct diameter, so it just clears the lip of the hub carrier, but it's just the right diameter for the bearing inside. But the cup in front must be big enough to sit on the hub carrier and big enough inside to receive the bearing itself. Make sure everything's straight and in line, and away we go.
Quick check behind to make sure everything's going in straight. Whoops. Into the freezer with the new bearing. Now it's important to clean out the inside of the bearing carrier, plus the crevice that holds the spring circlip. It's a machine fit, so it's important that nothing obstructs the bearing as it's pressed in. And then I'm going to apply a little bit of heat for a while, just so the bearing will go in nicely. Then I'm going to take the new bearing out of the freezer. It taps in nicely, just part of the way so I can get it nice and straight, ready for the tool. Now this time the back plate can go beyond the bearing onto the lip of the carrier itself, but be careful not to damage the speed sensor at the top here. It looks like this. And you should just be able to feel its seat. Then it's off with the tool. Check the recess for the circlip. Perfect. Now you're probably thinking it looks a little bit scabby underneath, but as soon as this job's done, I'm going to get it straight down to the guys at Avro Pro and get the whole underneath dry iced and protected. Back on with that circlip. You can fit a new one if you wish, but this one was perfect. Come on, you slippery little sucker. Next for the hub, which is cleaned up nicely. If there's any scoring on the shank of this, just replace with new. Just a couple of gentle taps, just to get it straight. And finally, for the backing plate this time, it needs to be exactly the same diameter as the bearing itself. Easy does it. And just like the bearing, eventually you'll just feel its seat. and we're on the home straight. And even though everything's nice and dry and good on these axles, in a future episode I'm going to strip them down and fit new boots and seals and re-grease and everything else. But for the moment, let's just see to the job in hand. Torque those Allen key bolts up to £60 per foot. And a handy tip, when each one's being torqued up, just give it a little mark with a bit of paint so you know it's being done. And look at this, the wheel have taken off to do the job. It's got an egg on the inside of the tyre and they're practically brand new. Pirelli, hey? Another 350 bites the dust. Put the wheel back on, centre cap out. And torque it up to £148 per foot with the wheel on the ground. A lot easier than the Rolls-Royce, I must say, which is £500 per foot. I know, I should have put the handbrake on, whatever. Anyway, that's it, we're done.
Okay, well, so far so good. Yeah, it was kind of groaning like an old goat for about 6 months now. And it's one of them jobs I was getting around to do, and then you get sidetracked with other things. But, I mean, listen to that. No noise at all. Yeah, that's so much more pleasurable to drive. Because it was one of them, it was mostly on long journeys if it was going up and down the motorway. And it'd just be like, whoop, 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 and then like this. And it was quite deafening, you know, when you're at top speed. So, yeah, as you say, another job ticked off the list. So listen, guys, if you like what you saw today, don't forget to like and subscribe. And just so you know, it's completely free to subscribe. It just gives you an update and gives you a reminder when a new episode's coming out. So, also, if you liked it, maybe pass it on to a friend, and in turn, they can pass the episode on to another friend, and in turn, that helps grow the channel, and with the algorithms and all the rest of it, it helps. So, you know, I'd really appreciate it. And once again, appreciate you for tuning in and watching, and this sounds great. Yep, job well done, and I'll see you all next time.
Thank you for watching this episode of Classic Obsession. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you all next time.